either it's a discussion around operations from a owner, or it's a
Alexa,
discussion around.
Turn off. Sorry. My bacon timer went off.
Are you selling coaching at your location, or are you selling results?
See, that I think you hit the money right there. I think the businesses, the owners that are going to do well or fare well are the ones that honestly, they have a good understanding, a truth behind what it is that they're providing people. And it's not, you're not selling a membership to a gym facility to work out and have classes, and you're selling, and your product, your service is the relationship with the coaches, the results, the accountability, the community, the culture. Those are the things that people are wanting from you. So if you can figure out how to keep delivering that through a virtual environment or whatever, then you're gonna be fine. Yeah.
And I think the fortunate thing about that is, you know, there's a couple of good things about, if you're committed to selling results, that you're not limited. If you're creative enough, you're not limited in the same way like a barbershop. Their customers have to go to their location. There's no way that you'd be able to service a virtual haircut, right?
Right. It's not a thing.
Same thing for like massage studios. There's just no way. Like those things you have to be hands-on. But training and selling results, there's a lot of ways that you can be really creative about it. And maybe even, you know, pivot and launch into something different that you normally wouldn't have thought of, because you know, you weren't forced to make any hard decisions. So I just think that there's a lot of things that can be done.
I still think that there will always be a market, and there will always be viability in in-person training. I mean, look at Globo gyms. Globo gyms aren't going away. Gold's Gym, 24-hour fitness, those big gyms, like, they rely on exactly the opposite of what we're talking about. They need the bodies in the gym, in the physical space, and those memberships. They're not going anywhere. They came up with a temporary solution. I saw some local global gyms doing online classes, just like CrossFit's affiliates. Right? Yoga studios are doing the same thing. It's people will still need and want in-person coaching. They will want to leave their house to put themselves in an environment, an atmosphere that is more supportive to their goals, that is more motivating. Like, I can't get motivated doing a workout in my living room. I mean, I could do some push-ups, I can do some sit-ups, but it's like, you ask me to do anything that involves pain, no way. I'm going to sit down and play Xbox. There's no way. So, I mean, like, there's still viability for the business. It's just how agile, how flexible can you be? So I would tend to.
Thing. You have to be. You just have to be scrappy about it.
Small businesses have that advantage. I would tend to disagree, though, slightly with you. I think things will get back to normal, because think about what has actually changed. People's perception of virulence, of ability to transmit disease. I mean, this is one strain.
So. I think that has been a big thing that, you know, if you kind of equate it to just the seasonal flu, no one's scared about it. But because there was a lot of hysteria around COVID, that now people are more in tune with how it can be transmitted, and then to the degree of, you know, what it can affect somebody, or how it can affect somebody, even to the point of death, even if the flu did the same thing.
Two things. One, I mean, as soon as we come up with a vaccine, I bet you this goes back to normal, right? Yes. Like, because people will be like, okay, whatever. Yeah, close to normal, like as close as we possibly could. There might be a little bit of trauma left over, but I don't think it's going to have anything beyond a marginal impact on people's psyche, especially in the States. In Europe, might be in Asia, might be a little bit different. I can't really speak to that, but in the States, I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact. Two, like I tend to have a better or a higher level of faith in people, not in the person necessarily, but in people, in the hopes. I hope that a lot of people start to learn more about these things. I think a lot of the fear was driven out of ignorance. A lot of fear is driven out of the spread of misinformation by the media. I'm not downplaying the seriousness of COVID-19 as a disease or the coronavirus, but the sense of, like, a lot of people still don't know, like, how bacteria and viruses are transmitted from person to person. Like, using the same barbell or wiping down gym equipment, and like how susceptible you are to catching stuff versus like what's already in the body. Like a lot of people probably already have coronavirus in the body. They're not
Right.
transmitting it. They're asymptomatic because the viral levels in their body just aren't high enough for them to feel something. Like how many, yeah, I think it's just a poor understanding of a lot of physiology, but I can't expect people to go out and learn about that. That'd be like me learning law.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Well,
pretty much an
the
expert
thing
on
is,
that too, so I don't know. No.
I think it's going to take I think people will be privy to that or be more informed about, the modes of transmission and viruses and whatnot, because it's just been a hot topic for, months now, or what feels like months.
Hopefully.
But it's going to take a long time to get caught up to that point.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so my thought around this is, if it takes too long, then you shifting your business model to kind of compensate for everyone's, change in behaviors. It's different from 1 month to 12 months. And this feels like it's going to be a 12-month process.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I think for me to draw like an analogy, and I don't know if you know anything about like the stock market. I've been learning a lot about the stock market recently, and there are a couple things. There's volatility, and then there are trends in the stock market, and this is one aspect of the entire thing. I think the volatility, which is how often something changes perception, let's say, I think that is going to be relatively high for the next year. Meaning people are going to be, as society in the States, are going to be sensitive to societal changes, to swings, to moods, to emotions. I think we will see that. But I think that is safer for a small business owner than a downward trend. I don't think people are going to spend less money. I don't think people are going to be, as a whole, I don't think people are going to be spending less time at in-person businesses. I think what we'll see is different populations or a single person change their mind more often. But because everybody's going to be changing their mind more often, there will always be, I think we're just going to see higher turnover in small, especially gyms, whereas like people will come in, they'll do it, they'll phase out within 3 to 6 months if you didn't do your job for retention, and then you'll get another new batch. I just think we're going to see higher volatility. I don't think we're going to see a downward trend in the industry, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think because people are going to be a little bit more emotional, but they're going to be they're going to need social interaction. They're going to need to get out and spend
Right.
money. They're going to want to, because psychologically it makes them feel better. It's a human, if we go to Maslow's hierarchy, right? It's like it's something that people seek. They may jump around a bit, but I think they're going to continue to do it, at least.
So you're a pretty informed person.
I try to be.
Curious
I could always be more.
on if you've noticed any changes in your habits, or if you anticipate any permanent changes in your habits because of this.
Me personally, no. I think I'm a cynic at heart, so like I'm not sure that I'm not, and skeptic. I'm not sure that the amount of fear over the coronavirus is justified to have me change any of my behaviors other than what's been mandated by like the social distancing and stuff. And I'll respect those things. But I mean, to be honest, this is one of the reasons why I lead or try to lead such a healthy life, with eating good food and exercising, using constantly very functional movement, executed high intensity, and stretching, and taking care of my sleep, and using the microwave less than I use the oven, using, it's like, it's just things like that. I feel like as a human, as a body, I'm more prepared for this than the average American, which we would probably agree is not in the most healthy state. So my personal habits have been building a hedge against a situation like this. And I think most CrossFitters, the people that we talk to, like that live these lifestyles, I think that's that's one of the huge advantages for them. And I think that's one of the things that will drive more, hopefully, like I'm optimistic about this, drive more people to our way of life. You don't hear too many CrossFitters getting sick and dying from coronavirus. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but it's probably the people that
the percentages.
Exactly. We are more resilient bodies by nature, or not by nature, but by
habit,
right. Exactly, by discipline.
Well, that goes back to the main selling point and the reason why what we do is important.
Yeah, and I'm not here to spout out off, like CrossFit rhetoric and stuff like that, and the dogma that. But I mean, I appreciate it. It works, and to be honest, like I haven't had much fear on my health side. Like if you said, "Hey, Zach, you're gonna have to go the next 20 years without health insurance," I'd be like, "My health insurance is my exercise routine and my nutrition regimen." Like I'd be like, "Okay, no big deal." I mean, if I'm in a car accident, yeah, that sucks, but like, what are the chances, right?
Right.
And even then, I'm probably more likely to survive. So it may sound, you know what? I'm listening to myself talk. I sound arrogant because I'm a CrossFitter. I do. It makes me sound arrogant.
There is some of that. There's some of that, but I think some of it is absolutely warranted compared to just the general population, because you're so much more in tune with your habits, what keeps you healthy, what keeps you strong, what keeps you resilient, where the majority of people, it's not even on their radar.
Right, exactly, which is unfortunate. And that's one of the reasons I think you're going to find a lot of business owners out there. I mean, they went into this business to do that, to spread that knowledge, to spread that lifestyle, to spread those habits, to help people gain that discipline to live a life like this, because they know in a situation like this, or just quality of life overall, it's going to benefit their customers. It gives us as business owners one of the best things that we could possibly have, conviction in our decisions. And I mean, whenever someone starts to doubt themselves, oh man, like, is this business going to survive? The amount of conviction you have about your purpose is going to be a major factor in what keeps you pointed in the right direction, keeps driving you forward and upward. So if you have conviction if you have conviction in your choice as a business owner, like, this is why I'm doing this, because I know it will be good for my customers, it will help them live a better life, then I think that's going to it's going to provide a lot of forward momentum for you. It's going to keep you on the right track. It's going to drive you towards success.
That is, and let's leave off of that one.
Okay.
That was like an epiphany. I think that there's so much noise and everyone's so caught up into, like the daily toll of how many people are sick, how many people have died and all that stuff. But when it comes down to, you need to simplify really what your mission is, why you got into this business, or why you decided to help people. And I think that, what you said right there is the key. And that can be used as a selling point. That can, you need to figure out how to magnify that for your individual business, and get that message out. Because that it's hard to refute, as a buyer, as a member, it's really hard to refute that. Like, why wouldn't I sign up and maintain my membership with you?
Right. So, exactly. Good point.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Well, we took a pivot there, but
but it was some good stuff.
I think lots of really good stuff there. We'll try this again tomorrow, man.
All right. Sounds good.
Good? All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.